this lesson, we are going to learn how to increase the width of our columns and the rows of our and the height of our rows using VBA. Then also learn how to hide and unhide our columns and rows using VBA. But in Excel, we can use the Excel features to increase the size or the width of your columns and the height of your rows. So if you want to increase the row width or the width of your row, all you need to do is just bring your cursor in between the two columns. Let's say you want to increase A, you bring it between A and B, then the cursor will change to a plus sign, then just drag to the location where you want your width size to be. You can bring it back to the normal position. That is how to increase the width of your columns. And with the height of your rows, you do the same to bring in between two rows and just increase it and then reduce it to their normal size. But with this activity, we can use Excel VBA to do this. So now let's go to our editor. Under the same Excel file macro file, under the Excel VBA editor, we have created a model, and the model we have created a subroutine which we have named it as width underscore height. So first of all, we can create a comment. It says if comment is a new thing to you, it's a line of code in programming that's as a tooltip or as a note when he or she is coding. We use that comment to explain our code, which that comment will not be part of the code, it will not be executed. So normally in VBA we start with a single quote. So the moment you type single quote, anything that we type will tend to green. So now if you have, let me add a comment. So the comment we want to give it is column width. Okay, so this column width will not be found in the code, or not be executed when you run the code. But it is telling me that anything under this comment is it will help us to increase or decrease the width of our columns. So anytime I open the editor or I open my code and see this comment, it will give me more information about the code under it. So that's the reason why we keep comments. So now let's start with the code. First of all, you need to declare a range. So the range, we are dealing with columns, so the range will be you can select a cell, you can select the whole column. So now I prefer to select the whole column, so let me select the whole column. So let's say column A. Let's use column A. So column A, it will be A is to A. That is the entire column. Dot columns dot column width dot column width will be equal to, so this is a value, so we give it a number, let's say 2. Go. Spelling is wrong. Okay, so we have two ways of writing this. First of all, we declare the range, then you bring your dot column, then you also bring another dot column width, that is the width that you want to then bring your equate it to the value. The same way we can write this code by ignoring the columns, the keyword columns. So let's copy this. Let's copy this and then delete this code from there and the keyword from there, and then change our text our value to 50. This code will still run irrespective of removing that keyword. So either you bring the keyword or you ignore the keyword, but don't forget to bring the column width. That is the most important thing if you want to deal with column width. Okay, so this is for the column. Now let's go to the row. So let's try to give a comment to row height. Okay, sorry, it should be single quotes. Okay, so the row height also, you declare a range, then you bring your rows, then your row height. Okay, so let's declare our range. And with range, this is row, so rows deal with numbers, so you can select the range, the whole range. That's row, let's say row 2, row 2 is 2. Okay, dot columns, dot dot row, we are dealing with rows, dot row height, then we give it a value, let's say 20. Okay, we can also, the same way, we can also ignore the rows and still the code will run. So let's do the same thing for that and delete the rows, it will run. Now you are able to code for the column width and the column height. Now let's go back to the column width again. There are some cases whereby you can select a specific cell, so let's tackle that one too. You can also select a specific cell. So if you want to select a specific cell, so the cell can be, let's say A2 dot column width, then you create it to a figure, let's say 38. Okay, the same thing applies to the height too. You can also do the same thing for the row height. You select a specific, you can also select a specific cell, let's say B2 dot row height, then give it a value 12. Okay, also there are some cases whereby you are not sure of the size or the width or the size of the height that you want to use. For the height, let's forget about it, but for the width, maybe you are not sure of the width, you can use something called auto fit. So let's insert that one too here. So for that one, you still need the range, then the row, the cell that you want to deal with. So let's say cell, let me use cell A, so A3. Okay, dot columns dot auto fit. Good, now we have it, so we can now run our code. So if you want to increase your size of your width, the column width and the column height, is the code you need to do. Okay, so now let's step into it and see. Now we are starting. So you see that it will skip the column because it's not part of the code, it is just a comment. Now the first line of code is telling that the column width of row of column A should be 3. So let's step into it. So that the A is now 3. You can check from the sheet, A is now 3. That's just 3 spaces. Okay, so the next one is it will now increase to 50. So you step into it now, it has now increased to 50. It's now reduced to 38, and now it will auto fit. You see that it is fitting the size or the length of the text in that cell or in that column. Okay, so now let's go to the row. the row 2, the first row is telling that it should have the height of 20. So if you step into it, you see that the row which is row 2 is having the size of what? 20, the size of 20. Okay, let's edit this one. Let's use 50. Okay, so let's go back and step into it again. Okay, let's step into it again. Okay, so let's go over. Okay, so you see that now the first one, the row height, first one was 20. So you can check from row 2, it is a little bit taller than the other cells. Now let's step into it again. See that it will now increase to 50. Then the last one, it will now go back to 12. Okay, that is how we insert, or that's how we enlarge or reduce the width and the height of our columns and rows. Now the next thing we're going to do is how to hide and unhide our cells, our columns. Okay, so when you want to hide your column, let's go back to our sheet. If you want to hide your column, there are the simple way of hiding your columns. Either you just highlight the whole column, you right click and you click on what? Hide. It will just hide the column there for you. And if you want to unhide it, you just go to that column there, you just click there and then unhide. You just unhide it for you. If you want to hide your row 2, you select the row, or you right click on the row number, then you hide. If you can see that 3 is hidden, so you have 2 and 4. If you want to unhide it, you just select the 2 rows, that is row 2 and row 4. You just right click, then you unhide, so row 3 will come back. But now we are going to use VBA to do this. So let's go to our editor and then insert a new subroutine. So then let's name it as hide _ unhide. Okay, so first of all, we are going to deal with what? The columns or the rows. Sorry, we are going to stay with the column. So you need the range of column that you want to hide. So the range, then the column that we want to hide, we are going to give the whole column name. So let's say we want to hide column B. So it will be B is to B, meaning the whole column, dot hidden. Okay, so it's dot rows, column B is column, so dot column dot hidden. Hidden. Then you equate it to either true or false. So if it is you want to hide, you equate it to true, and if you don't want it to hide, you just equate it to false. So let's copy this one and then paste it and change it to false. Okay, so that is for the column. So for the row 2, you can do the same thing. You just declare your range, and the range now is row, so it will deal with numbers. So you can select let's say row 5, so 5 through to 5, then dot rows dot hidden, then you equate it to true. So if you want to unhide, then you equate it to false. Okay, Now let's step into it and see. So you step into it. Now the first one is telling that the column B will hide. So column B will hide. So let's see. Now you can see from the sheet that column B is not hidden because it is set to true. If you want to unhide it, then it's set to false. So the false, it will bring the column B back. Now let's talk of rows. So row 5 will be hidden. So let's check row 5. We substitute row 5 will be hidden, and because it's true. Now when it is false, it will unhide it. Okay, so that is how we hide and unhide cells, rows and columns in Microsoft or my Excel VBA. I'll end here and continue in the next video. Thank you all. Bye bye.